Hey, good morning. Eric Arnold back in the MLB barn here on Summery Monday, 25th of April. Figured a little morning cigar here as we make our sum-up show here on a Monday. We're going to get back to doing that. I think that's one of the key features of this channel, in that we handicap baseball. So watch as you listen to me. Well, we tell you what our record is. It's not, oh, well, in the last 10, we're 10-0. Yeah, well, you lost the previous 15 in a row, but they don't tell you that. So we give you the record to date for the season and let the chips fall where they may. We got only 2 picks for you here on this Monday later in the show. Well, what's been going on here? Last week we got off to an awful start, a winless Monday, but then we clawed our way back, and for the season, let's put it up here. What, up 2 units? We haven't played that many games yet, so we're eking out a pretty respectable rate of return there, around 5-6%. Baseball's always a little odd when you're betting, in that you're always playing the money line. There is no point spread like most casual bettors recognize in football or even basketball. It's the money line, so you can't go by your strict wins and losses, as I keep telling people on this channel. For the newbies that may have just stumbled onto this for the first time, you could have a winning record and still lose money. I mean, in other words, if you're playing big favorites, you got to win 60% of the time to make any kind of money. So, you can't say, oh, I'm hitting 55% and always assume that's making you money. So, we're barely above 500, but we've made 2 units because we've hit a few nice underdogs in there. So I'm okay with where we're at. Sure, I had a bad April last year, and then we kind of took off around May Day, and so we're kind of hoping the same thing happens. April's a little bit of a chaotic month. It's hard to find what's happening. It's hard for the teams haven't settled into their routines yet, the trends. So we're still trying to find our way. Louis, he had a nice day yesterday, swept the board 3-0 with 3 favorites. He's up right around 500. Now, he and I have had a dispute about calculating his record, which I'm going to win that dispute every time because I'm calculating his record. If he wants to calculate his own record and send me the numbers, Louis, you're more than welcome. But as long as I'm calculating it, you get what you get. I'm going to use his methodology for him this year. My methodology is a little different. We both play underdogs the same way. In other words, if we're flat betting them, let's say our flat bet is $100, we give the bookie $100, and if we win, we get our $100 back plus whatever the line is. In other words, who's an underdog today? The Giants. Giants are an underdog. They're like a plus 180. So I get the $100 back that I gave the bookie plus another $180 for the bet. So we both do that the same. Where we differ are the favorites. Where on the favorite, let's say, who's a favorite today? Max Scherzer and the Mets. I want to play them. I give the bookie $145. That's the line. $145 for the Mets. If I win, I get my $145 back, and he gives me another $100. That's the way the money line works. Whereas the way Louis does it, he gives him $100. And so if he wins, he gets his $100 back plus a fraction of that. The way you figure it out is you take let's see, 100, and you divide it by the line. So the bigger the line, the smaller the payout. 100 divided by 145 probably works out to like 60 some bucks, I think. I'm doing the math in my head, maybe closer to 70. So he's always going to get a smaller payout on favorites than I am. On the other hand, he limits his liability on the favorites too. In other words, if I get punched in the face taking some giant minus 200 favorite and I lose 2 units, where he's only ever going to lose 1 unit. That's all he ever risks on a favorite. That's all he ever risks, period, 1 unit. Whereas on the favorites, I will risk more to get that consistent 1 unit payoff. I'll never risk, I won't lose, how to say this, I'll never get paid less than a unit if I win. Whereas he won't risk more than a unit, if that made any sense. So at the moment, I'm leading the Big E Louis race, but it's early. All right, so we got a game here. I've one of the things I like to do on this channel was talk, obviously, which is why I make these videos rather than just grab myself a Twitter account. Oh, and by the way, there will be a political episode following this episode for you for General Peter C. who just can't get enough. There will be a double episode here. We're going subject to which is the Twitter deal. But rather than just get myself a Twitter account and just fire out picks with no explanation or an explanation that can fit in 140 characters, I like to sit here and try to pontificate and maybe educate a little bit about how and why you want to make some picks or how I'm doing it. I had a disaster, well, not a loss. It's not a disaster. It was just a loss yesterday where the model, and I told you people, there are occasionally picks that go on unbeknownst to you behind the scenes just because I don't have time to make a video. So that Cleveland Indian, Guardians of the Cuyahoga, Bruce, Guardians of the Cuyahoga game, that Sunday game, my model was just like lighting up, saying, you got to play this. This is just, you got like a 15% edge here. You've got to play this game. And I thought, well, it's a huge edge I've got here according to the model. And I just kind of was like, I don't know, man. I mean, the unknown factor is they had a riot the day before, in case you missed it. For whatever reason, in the Saturday game, just the bleacher fans at the Yankee Stadium just got out of control. They just started throwing things at the Cleveland outfielders. I mean, we're not even talking like, I could see if like J.D. Drew is out there or something. And you're saying, who's J.D. Drew? It's somebody Philadelphia fans have long hated, and he's been retired for 20 years. He might be dead, for all I know. But, so there's somebody that the fan base truly hates. Bryce Harper, 5 years ago. I don't understand that. I still don't to this day. It's like, we hated this guy. We hated this guy in Philadelphia. Now I'm married to him for 13 years. How does that happen? At any rate, for whatever reason, the bleacher fans just decided we hate the Cleveland outfielders and we're going to call these guys pussies and anything else we could think of and throw beer cans at them and anything else we can get our hands on. And well, obviously the outfielders aren't going to stand for that, so they started giving it back to the fans, and it was so bad the Yankees had to run out in the outfield and try to take the Indian side or Guardian side and calm things down. It was crazy. If we did that in Philadelphia, they'd probably run 24-hour news specials on ESPN about it. But, that's New York. They're just passionate. We're jerks in Philadelphia. They're passionate in New York. So that was the odd factor. And I thought, God, I don't know. I mean, it might just Well, sure enough, that blew the game. I'm certain of that. That the Indians, that's one of those. We're mad. We're so fired up. God damn it, we want to beat these Yankee fans so bad. We want to beat them over the head. Well, we're so pissed off we forgot to play. And they just were not ready to play baseball and got run over, totally run over. And I think there's another game on the schedule like that today. No, there's not been a riot, but the point is, if you have an edge and you're pretty comfortable that, hey, I got a good edge in this game, but there's some weird circumstance in the game that would not normally be there, some oddball circumstance, maybe you should be careful because that might negate your edge. The game I'm talking about is the Giants and the Brewers. Normally, I think I'd be all over the Giants. It's just, I like these drop-in spots where a team, Brewers, coming off a late-night win, now they're flying home, and they got a quick turnaround, and they've got to reorient themselves in less than 24 hours and play another team dropping in who they're supposed to beat, then I just think that's a good spot for the underdog. And I've had some success playing it. But here's the trick. This is not a normal 3-game set. This is some weird lockout rescheduling deal where it's a 1-game series. The Giants are on the way home. So rather than fly all the way to San Francisco, they're going to stop over in Milwaukee Monday night, play a game, and then they're going to fly home. Milwaukee's flying from Philadelphia to Milwaukee, play this game at home, then they're going to fly to Pittsburgh on Tuesday. Could have sort of thing that would never happen, or the only time it would happen would be like in September if they're trying desperately to make up a game that they can't get made up any other way. I'm going to leave this one alone. I'm going to try to take a lesson from what happened to me Sunday and just leave that one alone because I just think this is going to throw things totally up in the air and negate the Giants' edge possibly. And now, if you're not buying any of this and you want the Giants anyway, have at it. But, Giants are throwing a suspect pitcher. This might just be the team that may give this game away might be the Giants. That's where I'm thinking. It's like, all right, we don't give a shit if we win or lose this game. Let's just get the hell home. We're throwing out a great pitcher. He goes out and gets blown up. We're going to get in swing mode and get back on the goddamn airplane and get the hell out of here. So we're leaving that one alone. What are our plays, you say? I have no use for plays you're not making. I want to know what you're playing. We're going to take the Red Sox. We got lucky with them this weekend on a could go either way game. So we're going to come back with them. They generally play, oddly enough, pretty well up there in Toronto. It's not a great start for the Red Sox, but I think that perhaps their bats will warm. I don't know. They didn't hit. They got off like a house of fire yesterday, and then just after the first 10 minutes, didn't hit the ball the rest of the day. So maybe a change of scenery will get their bats going. Like I said, they play pretty well up there in Toronto. I like these early week underdog games where the underdog is, Toronto. Again, they're now getting the quick changeover, flying all the way home from Houston, and they got to immediately roll right into a game with the division rival, who's a hungry division rival that's not playing as well as they think they should. So I think this is edge Red Sox here, and we are getting paid slightly to play this game. It's my note said plus 111, so I think it's probably a 50-50 game. We have a small edge on the Red Sox, and then we're going to take the Mets. We're going to take Scherzer in the Mets. He's a premium pitcher. He's a consistent guy that gives you a good effort pretty much every time out. The Mets are on a roll. They just are. And I've struggled with this team because it just seems to be they're unpredictable. But right now they're pretty predictable. They're just winning. They're just winning. And with Scherzer out there, Cardinals are not hitting the ball at all. They're winning, but they're not hitting. And now here's Max Scherzer. See if this gets you out of your slump. I don't think it's going to. In fact, I think your slump's going to continue. So I think Scherzer will get it done here. Not at horrible price as far as getting a premium pitcher and you're laying under 150. I think that's some value there. So we'll go ahead there. Other games we looked at, we considered the Angels, but I didn't like the Guardians having, a long cross-country flight to reflect on where they're at in life, and that'll probably settle them down, and they may actually play a good game Monday. We looked at the Dodgers. I like the Dodgers. They're such a good team, but they're so expensive that it's hard to find, probably this weekend would have been the spot to play them, and I missed those games, I guess. But I like it just too much, just too expensive. I can't do it. So I think our volume is going to pick up in May. We're right now pretty sparse with our picks, but I think we're going to pick up the volume in another 2 weeks or so. What else is going sports-wise? I watched a lot of that Phoenix New Orleans NBA game last night. I think Phoenix is in trouble. They looked not good last night. They're the overwhelming favorite, aren't they, to win the title? But now the best players out for this series and probably the next series, Devin Booker, they're in big trouble. This could be anybody's year. I was debating, apparently Philadelphia star Joel Embiid has a torn ligament in his right thumb, the hand he shoots with. And I told my wife, I said, Mark will come over for if you're not familiar with the program. Once in a blue moon, my brother Mark will join us on the program and spout his pro Philadelphia sport nonsense. And I call it nonsense because it's always pie in the sky. The Philadelphia teams never lose. They're the greatest, that sort of thing. So he thinks the Sixers have a great chance to win the title. I don't think that's true. I said to my wife, he's not going to think this injury is going to affect Embiid at all. He'll just, it doesn't matter, doesn't count. He didn't go see it. It's like it's an injury. It's a torn ligament in the guy's thumb, his shooting hand. How on earth can that not affect the guy? And sure enough, he thinks he'll just adjust. Well, he'll just make adjustments and be as great as ever. It's like, what nonsense? What planet do you live on? You can't let that kind of thinking creep into your handicapping. An injury is an injury. And all things being equal, an injured player, this was his level of denial. He said, well, I think that seeing Embiid gutting it out there with that torn ligament will simply raise the play of all the other players. They'll just go, yeah, look at the captain go. And they'll just play that much better. I thought, well, why don't they all get injured then? Then they'll really play well if they're all injured and gutting it out. I mean, that's that's where that thinking takes you. So, I don't know. I think the Sixers finish Toronto, and then they are finished. I think Jimmy Butler and the Heat will take care of them. But I don't follow the NBA. That's just a total novice fan perspective on that. All right, that's all we got here on this Monday. Like I said, so far up 2 units for the season. Not terrible. Let's try to keep it going. Hey, hit the like button. Hey, let's try to get some subscribers here. I've done exactly nothing other than tell you to go get me some subscribers. I don't know. There's a button on YouTube that says promote, and I've never hit that button. I don't know what that means, promote. Does that mean that YouTube puts it higher up in the food chain of videos that show up if I hit the promote button? I may get desperate and try it sometime just to see what happens. All right, great. Hey, we'll talk again. Political Barn episode coming up on Twitter or about Twitter, and we'll see you again.